Hey everyone, this is Corey with Casual EDC, and today we're going to be taking a quick look at a little slideshow I put together here that I'm going to be calling Balling on a Budget, Custom Makers and High-End Designers for Under $100. So I say under $100, I believe the most expensive knife on this list is $80 with one exception, being $99, hitting right up at that threshold, but that is right at the very end. So let's start this little slideshow here. I'm going to be going through these in alphabetical order. First we have Jensonzo, and right here we have an example of a custom Monte Carlo. Jensonzo is a custom knife maker who is part of Giant Mouse Knives. He teams up with Jesper Voxnaes to design the knives for Giant Mouse. Then down at the bottom left here you can see the ZT-0230, which is essentially a production version of the Monte Carlo. And for around $32, you can get a Jensonzo design in the Kershaw fraction in tan, black, or blue, and I believe there might be a green option as well, but I could not find a picture. Lucas Burnley is our next designer. Please excuse the dogs that were just barking. Lucas Burnley works very closely with CRKT as well as Boker to do some collaborations, but we're going to be looking at the CRKTs here for the sake of budget. Here we have the CRKT Squid and the CRKT Sketch. The Sketch is a newer release, the Squid is a timeless classic, and you can see a custom version of each. This is the M69, as he calls it for his custom work, and then a custom Squid here in a wood finish is what it was called. Lucas Burnley makes a really nice knife, great designer. The Sketch came from 365 straight days of sketching. And for under $30 you can have either of those knives there, and they are both excellent. I know I've had a Squid before and it's fantastic, and I've only ever heard good things about the Sketch. Next up we have Ernest Emerson. Emerson knives are a bit pricey, definitely for somebody who wants to get into them and really likes the wave feature, which is really your really the only draw to Emerson knives in my eyes. It's the biggest draw, I should say. So you can see this little nub that protrudes right here. You can see on all of these knives, all these down here, this one, that one, and that's designed to snag on your pocket on the way out. So, sorry, as I bump my camera, it works like a hook. So when it hits the pant leg, it pulls the knife blade open. So I'll show you a quick example here with a Benchmade bug out. If you're pulling it out of your pocket, you'd essentially snag, the hook would be right here. You'd snag it on your pocket. As you pull it out, it would deploy. So I hope that's a good little visualization there for you. But Emerson's can be quite expensive, but you're looking at these Kershaw models here. Some of them can be had in D2 and others in 8CR13 MOV. All of these options are available, as well as the ones above, and more I believe as well. And they can all be found for $35 or less, maybe upwards of $50 with some of the more expensive ones in D2. Next up is Alan Folts. This is the only fixed blade we're going to be taking a look at here, but is the CRKT Minimalist, which comes in a Bowie, a Tonto, a Warncliffe, and now a cleaver shape, as well as a Hawkbill, which I forgot to include a picture of here. But Alan Folts is the designer, and he makes custom versions, which you can see a pretty decked out one here with titanium coatings and blue G10 handles there. But you have a very cheap option opposed to the several $100 budget. You have about a $20 option right here. 20 to 25 bucks you're going to be paying for the CRKT Minimalist. It's a very soft steel. It's a 3CR13 MOV, I believe. But if you can strap your steel up and don't mind sharpening, it's great. It comes with a Kydex sheath that you can attach to your belt, or you can hang from around your neck as a neck knife, and they all come with a lanyard. This one's just cut off in the picture. Next up is Rick Hinderer. So Rick Hinderer is obviously known for the XM18 and the XM24, mostly I would say, as well as the Fire Tac and some other models. But here you can see a bunch of Kershaw knives that Hinderer collaborates with. You can see the Cryo here and the Cryo there. They're the same knife. One's got G10, one is all stainless steel. Here, the one up there, let me just check my notes, the name is slipping me. It reminds me the most of a Hinderer between the, you can see the flipper tab design, the pocket clip is a Hinderer pocket clip, these filler tabs are Hinderer, and that is the Kershaw Agile. That really screams Hinderer to me, as well as this one here, which is the Decimus. So it's not double-edged, even though it looks like it is. So you have one edge here, and that's a false edge on the back. And this is the ferrite here. So some interesting designs. Opposed to a $400 or $500 Hinderer, you can be getting $20, $25 Kershaws here that have very similar design. Next up is Ray Laconico, and these pictures get kind of messed up. I don't know what happened there. But on the bottom here, for about $80, you can get yourself a Kaiser Vanguard Gemini, which is essentially a cheaper version of his custom Jasmine. So you can see a flipper version of the Jasmine above, and you can see it's very similar to the Kaiser Gemini. They also do make a higher end version of the Kaiser Gemini, but the budget one actually has the thinnest blade stock, so it's probably going to slice the best, and it is running with, it used to be VG10, it might be N690 now, but I know they have changed. It might be the other way around as well. They may be using VG10 now and N690 before, but a great knife. Only ever heard good things about it, and Laconico designs are usually very good designs. I really enjoy my Monterey Bay knives. Easy C, which this is also a Laconico design. He does very clean and simple designs, which you can see, and he makes a good knife and does a very good job designing said knives. Next up, we have RJ Martin, which you can see a very tricked out custom version of his knife here, which that is going to be the same as the Kershaw Volt 2, is where that is inspired from. Here you also see the Kershaw Chill, which is up there actually, excuse me, and the Kershaw Zing down here. So for $25, $30, you can get yourself something that very closely is the same, if not the identical design, to a several $1,000 custom knife. Next up is Eric Ochs, who has worked with Massdrop as well as CRKT most notably. Here you can see a custom Ochs terrestrial, and here you can see CRKT's version of it here. And you'll see a CRKT Avant, which is one of their newer releases, which has been pretty popular, as well as the Bev Edge, which is a knife that you see kind of as you're getting into knives. You might find a Kershaw Shuffle, and this is going to be right there with it, a smaller frame lock with a bottle opener on the back. Same idea, just a nice little entry, fifth pocket carry kind of blade. So once again, you're looking at very cheap options, with the Avant being the most expensive here at $60, as opposed to a very expensive custom knife. Backwards by mistake. Next up is Serge Panchenko, who makes these custom beans as well as lancers, but I don't have a lancer pictured here. These are double detent slip joints, and they are usually flippers as well, and sometimes these models are as well, but I will get into those in a second. Panchenko does these custom ones. They get to be very expensive for what they are. They're tiny little knives. They fit in the palm of your hand. You know, you're gonna pinch it with these two fingers while you flip it, that kind of a thing. They're really neat. They're really cool. They're really dressy, especially the custom ones. Here you can see a production version made by Fox, which may be a flipper. I'm not sure. I think they do some flippers and some non-flippers, but either way, you can see the hole there, which you can access right there at the cutout. And if there is a flipper, it will stick out above, and you can top flip it, and it ends up back down. And here you see a Lancer made by Boker, which just has the thumb hole there to deploy it. And sometimes there's enough of the blade tang sticking out to even get a little bit of front flipping action. Here we have Richard Rogers, who is another custom maker who has recently teamed up with CRKT in the last few years to create the CEO, as well as most recently the CRKT Montosa. I really like the looks of this Montosa, as well as his customs, obviously. And it's a design I think is going to be really neat for people to check out. It's his mid-utility folder, is what he calls the custom, and you can see how he gets to that name. You have a mostly straight edge with a good amount of belly right at the end, and a very abrupt tip. So it's not something that is going to break super easily, which is where I believe he's getting that utility part from. And the CEO, as we know, is an excellent carry, a gentleman's carry. Tip down, throw it in a shirt pocket, in a vest pocket, and you are good to go. And both of these can be had for under $50, the CEO for about $35, and the Montosa for $49.99. Next up is Dmitry Sinkovic, who is a custom knife maker who makes very, very expensive knives, When I was looking these up, I saw some of these were $6,000 plus. But luckily for those of us who don't have $6 to spend on a knife like that, we are able to buy these, which at the very top you see the Kershaw Concierge, which is essentially the budget version here of this knife. This is more similar to a zero tolerance 0452, whereas this is more of an 0450. But they're similar knives, and he does make a custom similar to that as well. Below that we have the Kershaw Tumbler, and we also have the Kershaw Atmos. The Kershaw Atmos I have done a video on. I will link that in the description. It's a really good budget piece. These are bearings, and they're liner locks with carbon fiber over G10. These are all G10 by the looks of it, and they're all flipper liner locks. I don't know if the Concierge is assisted, but I know that these two are not. So they're manual flippers from Kershaw, and these are all 35 or less. Second to last here, we have Brian Tighe, who is another custom knife maker. As you can see, there's a really decked out Tighe custom over here. It's a flipper thumb stud button lock with Damascus and blue lava carbon fiber. And most recently he has teamed up with CRKT to bring a couple of his designs to the table. Here we can see the TIE Fighter at the top, is what they're calling it. Aggressive Tonto blade, button lock, flipper. And here you can see a drop point version of a very similar knife, and the same knife down here as in the middle with a compound grind Tonto. Lastly, we're going to take a look at Jesper Voxnaes, and I don't have enough room on a slide to fit pictures in here. Jesper is a custom knife maker who makes a fantastic small knife. If you have big hands, which I have pretty wide hands, I'm not going to sit here and cover the screen, but my hands aren't small, but they're certainly not very big. Jesper finds a way to design knives to fit even the biggest hands super comfortably. So at the top you see the CRKT Polar, CRKT Piet, I don't know how you say it. The Fox Suru, the name of this one's escaping me, but it has field strip technology. CRKT Beta, I want to say. An MKM knife here, which the name is also escaping me. And a Giant Mouse Ace Iona. This is the one exception here of the pricing being under 100, with the only one really being that close being $99. Everything else you see here, aside from the Fox and the MKM, are gonna be in like the $30–40 range. I know the Piet can be found for like $25 or $30, and same with the Polar. The Polar can be had for about anywhere between $20 and $30. That is gonna wrap it up, guys. But if you think of any other designers or custom makers who also have production models that I missed out on, please let me know. I know there are plenty of them that have mid-techs and that also have more expensive pieces, like say for example Pena knives, but I wanted to show these off because I know a lot of people, especially during this time of with everything going on in the world, don't have a lot of money to spend. But if you need to scratch that itch, any of these designers here, you can't go wrong. You know, Jensonzo if you're looking for a nice little Kershaw, Lucas Burnley if you want a steel frame lock from CRKT, Emerson if you need that quick deployment with Kershaw, if you're looking for a little fixed blade, tiny little guy to hang from your neck, Alan Folts. You want that Hinderer design, but you don't want the Hinderer price tag. The Laconico Designs, nice and clean, gives you a great slicing blade. RJ Martin, super cool designs, really neat customs, just gives you a chance to get a pretty cheap version into your hands. Eric Ochs, some really interesting and neat designs, so if that's something that interests you, then you can go ahead and pick up one of these CRKTs. Serge Panchenko, if you're into these little beam flippers or the Lancers. Richard Rogers, if you want the CEO for that gentleman's carry, or you're looking at the Montosa for utility. Dmitry Sinkevich, if you're all about those straight and curvy lines getting combined. Very elegant designer here, definitely knows how to make a knife look pretty. Brian Tighe, if you just like a cool futuristic looking knife, really neat designs, really unique. And as I said, Jesper Voxnaes, if you want a knife that just melts into your hand and is ready to go to work. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you appreciate this little list I put together. And if, like I said, if you have any suggestions or anything I missed, please let me know down in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.